Coming up on today's Philadelphia Eagles. Now, my final Eagles record prediction prior to the 2023 season getting underway. We'll also take your questions as well, and we're going to go through this Eagles schedule game by game to see what's on the docket for the defending NFC champions. First, though, watch parties. They return for regular season action on Sunday because it's Patriots week, and you think about what Patriots week means. This is the second time that the Eagles will take on the Pats since taking down New England in Super Bowl 52 during that magical 2017 season. So many memories from that season, including Nick Foles holding up the only Lombardi trophy in the history of this franchise. Let's hope that the Eagles take down the Patriots once again, and let's hope that on our watch party, we can dissect an Eagles victory. We'll be going live, and our stream will get popping 4 o'clock Eastern on Sunday, 1 o'clock for those of you out on the West Coast. Do not miss our Eagles versus Patriots watch party coming up on Sunday as the regular season is finally here. Without further ado, let's break down this Eagles schedule here in 2023. And we're going to segment this off by like 4 5-game stretches. And you look at this first four-game stretch for Philadelphia here. I don't think there's any excuse for the Eagles to not go 4-0 to start the season. They're the better team than any team here, and it's a very winnable first month of the season. They should beat the New England Patriots, and I think they will. 24-20 is my final score. Short week against the Minnesota Vikings. Lincoln Financial Field is going to be on fire. Eagles fans, by the time kickoff comes around, will have been tailgating at the K-Lot and all around South Philadelphia all day long. Kirk Cousins doesn't stand a chance coming into Philadelphia to get a win on primetime. Then you go on the road against the Bucs, Monday Night Football. If this game were later in the season and you have to deal with the weather change from winter in Philadelphia to the humidity down in Florida, could be a concern. But the Eagles have been practicing in the heat and humidity in the Northeast for several weeks now. And the Buccaneers are not a good team. They have some good offensive weapons, but Baker Mayfield's their starting quarterback, really? And then you play the Commanders at home week 4 as you return to Philadelphia. 4-0. No excuses for the Eagles here. I don't want to hear that there's been a Super Bowl hangover. And then you look at the next 4 games for the Eagles here. Week 5, cross-country trip against the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams could be tanking this year. They really could. They've gutted that roster. They could be without Cooper Kupp. They let go of Bobby Wagner. They traded away Jalen Ramsey. There was chatter of them trying to move off of Aaron Donald. I think they're going to be bad. That's another win. And then the schedule starts to get a little bit difficult here. You go up by 95, MetLife Stadium, to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Difficult game. Week 7, Dolphins come to town. I think they're going to be a formidable opponent, especially with that offense. Week 8, you go on the road to take on the Commanders. This is where things start to get really interesting for Philadelphia here. You have Week 9 against the Cowboys. Week 10 is your bye. Week 11 on the road against the Chiefs. That is the first time this year that the Eagles will be underdogs. Or no, the second time actually. Against the Cowboys, I believe they're underdogs, and against the Chiefs, they are underdogs. But this stretch of Cowboys, who with Dak Prescott, they do play the Eagles well. Bye week, Chiefs, Bills, NFC Championship rematch, and then you flip Week 14 on the road against the Cowboys. In Seattle, always a difficult game to play, and I think that roster is really good outside of quarterback. And then you finish off with the Giants 2 times the final 3 weeks. You should boat race Jonathan Gannon and the Arizona Cardinals, but that's a difficult stretch there, kind of from like Week 8 until Week 18. Now, the thing that's working in the Eagles' favor is that they have a very good roster. They're probably the most talented team in the NFL, not just with their starters, but they have depth as well. But when you stack a couple of really difficult games on top of one another, that's when things can get a little bit hairy. My final record prediction for the Eagles here. They won 14 games last year. To duplicate that success, it's very hard to do. But I do think the Eagles duplicate their success in the division. I think they become the first back-to-back winner in the NFC East for for the first time since 2004. It's crazy how much parity there's been in this division. But the Eagles finished 12-5. They win the NFC East. I think that this year is going to be difficult for a lot of teams in the NFC where you don't have like a 15, 14, 13 win team, or at least multiple of them, because I still think at 12-5, the Eagles are a top 2 seed in the NFC. So that's my record prediction for Philadelphia. What is your Eagles record prediction? Let me know down in the chat. It's your last opportunity to get it official in the comment section, pen to paper, so to speak, before the season begins. Let me know down below. Now let's take your questions here. Ace, will Jalen Carter get 10-plus sacks and do what seems to be impossible for rookies? So if Jalen Carter, as a rookie, were to have 10 sacks at defensive tackle, he'd basically give you what Javon Hargrave gave you last year. And Javon Hargrave had 11 sacks last year. That would be a great rookie season. And he would definitely be Defensive Rookie of the Year. There's no doubt about it. I don't think he gets 10. I think 5, 6, maybe even up to 8 is that range that I'm looking for Jalen Carter. And still, even that is a really good debut season in the NFL. LA, our guy, do you think the Birds could realistically go undefeated going into the bye week leading up to the Super Bowl Kansas City rematch? They could. And I kind of voiced some of the concerns that I have for the Eagles going into that matchup, Super Bowl against KC. You know, that Jets game is going to be difficult. Miami, Dallas. It's certainly possible with how talented they are, but in a league that has so much turnover year over year and a lot of parity, it's just really difficult to have that sustainable success as far as just being dominant, like dominant. We'll see, though, LA. Appreciate that. Erica Jones, how do you feel about us playing our first 2 games 4 days in between each other? It's not ideal, but the good thing is, and I think Philadelphia looked ahead at this, they didn't play the starters in the preseason for a reason. And I think there are 2. So reasons, plural, not singular, right? I think that they played so deep into the year last year, and they were healthy. First 2 years under Nick Sirianni, they've been top 5 in injury rate, so they've been a healthy team. But they played so deep in those extra games by playing in the Super Bowl. I also think that the Eagles looked ahead at the early portion of the schedule where they play week 1 on the road against New England, and then they have to turn around, come back home. It's not a long trip to Foxborough. It's very easy, in fact, very easy and short flight. But anytime you have 2 games within Sunday to Thursday and that being the stretch, yeah, it's a little bit difficult. So if it were at the midway point of the year, I would hate it. I'd rather it be at the start of the year, and I think that's why Nick Sirianni did not play the starters in the preseason, because he was looking at that. They want to have this team fresh with that tight stretch there. Callie Green, add Melvin Ingram as a rotational player. Yeah, he's still out there. Like the Jadeveon Clowney of the world. You know, he went to the Baltimore Ravens. He had Justin Houston, signed with the Carolina Panthers. Melvin Ingram is kind of in that type of veteran stratosphere, but for him, not with the team. And I think that he's aged a little bit faster as compared to a Justin Houston, who last year with Baltimore actually had some really good sack production. Lion Fighter, the Eagles will go undefeated in the NFC East. I would love for that to happen because I hate the Patriots, I hate the New York Giants, and I hate the Washington Commanders, and that would allow the Eagles to repeat as division winners. I think they split with Dallas. Can they pull off another sweep of the Giants? That could be difficult to do. They should sweep the Commanders, but last year they lost to the Commanders. So I'm not going to say they go 6-0 against the division, but I do like 4-2, somewhere in that range, just because of the familiarity that these teams have. Lamont Lancaster, Jalen Carter wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. As I said a little bit earlier, if he has that 10-sack number this year as a rookie, book him as Defensive Player of the Year. Even if he contributes for a team that wins a lot of games, if that happens this year, and I expect that, of course, to be the case, if he's a steady contributor as a rookie, he can win Defensive Rookie of the Year. He is the odds-on favorite, by the way, to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Ace with another one. Sign Julio Jones and get him to a Super Bowl. If an injury happens at wide receiver, Julio Jones could be one of those guys who you bring in for a veteran who has been injured a lot over the last couple of years. All right, that does it for our mailbag and my schedule prediction here on the show. Week 1 is going to be here before we know it. I cannot wait for it. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. You don't want to miss our Eagles-Patriots watch party coming up on Sunday. It's youtube.com/Eagles now. Even easier for you, just hit that subscribe button down below. Always love chopping it up with all of our loyal subscribers. It's great for you to be a part of the show just as much as I am as the host here of the program.